dough, the sweet and sipping on that scissor.
Ay, oh, big drink, big drink, big drink, big drink, big drink, big drink.
Hey guys, it's me Sharmaine and I'm back with another video, and today's video, as you can see by the title, is going to be me discussing my experience as a communications major and like any tips or advice that I think would be beneficial for people who are going into communications, thinking about going into communications or anything like that. So if that topic interests you, make sure to keep watching. Click the subscribe button if you're not yet subscribed. Hit the post notification bell so you get notified when I post new videos. So to start, I'm going to talk about my experience so far in communications. I'm in my second year, going into my third year in September, online because of quarantine, you know. So first year, specifically at my school, because I can only speak of my experience at my school. First year, we had 2 mandatory courses, which were really broad, really kind of boring classes. One of them was a little less boring. So one was media history and the other one was communication in context. Media history was definitely a lot more boring because obviously it's history, and I don't know, some people like history, I don't. Well, I like history, just not in school. Like, I liked learning about it in my own terms. But both of the courses were pretty boring, and I feel like that's the case for probably most universities. Like first year courses, especially for a program like communications, the first year courses are definitely going to be a lot more broad and a lot more boring, and that can like scare some people off. Like I know a lot of people first year of communications switched out of the program or like dropped out or stuff like that because they're just like, this program is not for me, this is not what I thought when I thought of communications. Like it's either too boring, it's too like just too much writing, too much reading, whatever the case may be. So I feel like that scares a lot of people off first year. But the thing is, as you go on through the years, it does get a lot more specific. Like even second year, I noticed a big difference in the course material, but I'll get to that in a bit. But yeah, so just remember and keep in mind as you're going through first year and probably second year as well. I'm only in second year, so I don't even know what's past second year, but just from what I've been told and like the courses that I'm seeing that I'm gonna have to take third year, it does get a lot less boring and a lot less broad. So it does feel like the first year, like this doesn't even pertain to my program, like why am I doing this? I feel like that's what a lot of people feel like, but I feel like that's just how they have to start off for every program, just like with the general courses, you know. So for first year, in order to go into second year in the program at my school, you had to maintain a C+ average in each course, and that's for my school, Laurier. Oh, I don't know if I mentioned that, but I go to Laurier. Yeah, so for the first year, you need to get a C+ in both of those courses. I feel like that's a pretty achievable grade, although with like one of the courses, media history, that was a bit iffy, but you know, and it's not even because it's like hard material, but what I find from my experience and like most people experience who don't do that well in that course is that it's just so boring that it's a struggle to get through the course, you know. It's a struggle to do the readings, it's a struggle to actually study and do your work because it's such boring material. That's just my opinion. Some people may find it interesting. I did not in the slightest. I don't know anybody who did, to be honest. So first year, got through that, get your marks, get your C+ in each of your courses, and like for communications at my school, your overall average had to be like a C+ 2, I think. A lot of people say communications like the easy program, like anyone can do it. Some people might be like, oh yeah, C+, that's nothing. But for a lot of people, it's really hard to maintain a C+ average, you know, because like university, the material is a lot harder for every course, no matter what it is. Even the bird courses aren't bird courses, you know. So getting into second year, there was 2 mandatory courses again. This is when you actually start getting into taking communication electives for like my school at least. So I didn't really take any this year, so I can't really speak on that because it just didn't fit into my schedule. But I took the 2 mandatory courses. So one was communication research methods, and the other course was, what was this course called? I actually don't know what the course is called, I'm not gonna lie. Oh, and the other course was conceptual issues in communications. What does that mean? I still don't know. So at my school, second year, it changes a bit because instead of like having to get a C+ in each of your mandatory program courses overall, so like all your communication courses have to have an average of a C+. So like, for example, you could get a B+ in one communication course and then like a C- in the other one, but if your overall average is at least a C+ for the communication courses, you can still pass through to the next year, if that makes sense. I think that's really beneficial for a lot of students because sometimes one course you do really poorly in because it's like not your thing, and then the other one you do like really well in, you can get like an A, and then it's like, oh, you didn't get a C plus in that one, so now you can't go through the next year. So that's why I feel like it's a lot better where it's like your whole average has to be a C plus for the communication classes instead of like each one. So that's a really good thing that changes second year. For my experience in the 2 courses I took, I found that they're both a little less boring than first year. Still not really of great interest to me, not gonna lie. I mean, some people may find them interesting. Again, each school has a different set of courses, so this only pertains to my school. Communication research methods class, I found it to be a little interesting, to be honest. Like, it wasn't like, whoa, like this is, I'm so invested in this, like, oh my god, this is like Tiger King interesting. Not like that, obviously, but it was, in comparison to the first year courses, definitely a lot more interesting. Conceptual issues in communications, I actually did better in that course, which is really weird for me because I found that one to be a lot more boring, but I did better in that course. For me, that class was way more boring because it was a lot of theory and reading and history. But what I liked about that class, my TA was able to, like, in our tutorials, relate the content to more modern things, so it didn't feel so boring, you know? Like, it felt more interesting because we'd relate it to like politics, social media, Trump, all this stuff. It was easier for me to like understand the content through tutorials. So that's another thing. Go to your tutorials. It's like basically mandatory. If you miss like a certain amount of tutorials, you're gonna lose a lot of marks, and that will affect your marks a lot. So go to your tutorials. And also, they just help with the content. Like, if I didn't have tutorials, I would have failed that class, because the tutorials are what like actually helped me understand what was even going on in the class. Because sometimes I would go to lecture and I'd sit there and he didn't let us go on our phones or anything. Like, he was very strict about all that stuff. No laptops, no nothing. So I'm just sitting there and I'm really trying to listen, but it's just so boring that like as I'm like 2 minutes into listening, I just like, I don't know where my brain goes, but it just goes away. So the tutorials were so helpful because they bring you back and be like, okay, this is what's going on in the class right now. This is what the readings were about. This is what this is about. But a piece of advice I would definitely say is do your readings, because I learned the hard way. You need to actually do your readings. Like, you need to, or else you will, again, you'll be lost. You won't know what's going on in your class at all. Highlighting all that stuff is really important. Some TAs make it mandatory that you highlight and show them that you read. None of my TAs ever did that, but some people do. Another thing I would definitely say is, again, I know it starts off really boring first year, kind of second year too, but as you get into like your 3rd and 4th years, it gets a lot more specific and it gets a lot more interesting, because you can actually learn about the stuff that you really thought communications was about. Like, most people going into communications are like, I want to do something in media, digital media, marketing, whatever. And you actually get to like learn about that stuff in your upper years in university. Another thing is, at my school, I don't know if this is the case at every school's communication program, but at my school you can like customize your major. So like, for example, you can do communications and digital media. You just have to take certain courses for each customization. So like, there's social entrepreneurship, there's digital media, environmental studies. Like, there's different customizations that you can do. I haven't even looked much into that, but I'm looking more into that now, so I can start taking those courses and have that specialization, just so you're able to take courses that actually pertain to what you're interested in, because communications is such a broad program. Because like, there's some people who are in communications that are like, oh, I'm in communications, but like I want to do something in business. There's a business customization or whatever. Oh, they're like in communications, but they're like, oh, I want to do like videos and like media, movies, videos, whatever. There's one for that, because those are 2 completely different topics. It's really good that you get the opportunity to like specialize in whichever one interests you. Another question I got, this again doesn't pertain to everybody. I saw a lot of you guys in the comments of my other video. If you didn't see that, I did another video on advice for first years coming into Laurier. So I'll put that in the card so you guys can see that. I discussed in that video a bit how I did the management option. And some of you guys who were like planning on doing communication in the management option had like reached out to me or like commented on the video about like, you guys are getting like kind of nervous about that too, because you're in the same position as me where you're like not that into math, and like you're wondering how that is in that option. So as I mentioned in that video, I'm like not a big math person, so I didn't really enjoy the accounting, because first year I had to take accounting and economics, so I didn't really enjoy either of those. Economics wasn't really math, but accounting was really bad for me because it was too much, and not even that it was hard, it was because I absolutely no interest in learning about accounting or the content, so that like reflected in the amount of work I put into the class. Because when you're not interested in something, let's be honest, your drive to like work towards it, or like your drive to study or do the homework and stuff like that, is like non-existent. That was me with accounting. Like I was like, I'm not doing this, and then that reflected in my marks. So after that, I was like, being in economics and accounting really brought down my GPA this year. I was like, I don't want to do that to myself next year, so I just dropped out of the management option. But the thing is, for second year for the management option, the only math course you have to take is statistics, which again isn't like an easy course. Like I've never heard anybody say statistics is easy. But after statistics, I'm pretty sure after that you don't have to take any other math course. So like, to be honest, sometimes I regret dropping the management option, because I'm like, if I just pushed through first year and got the stats course for second year, I would have been done with math and still had my management option, because the other courses for the management option are more like business focused, and that's where my interest was, in business, and that's where my strong suit is, in business. So like the accounting and the economics were just like extras and stuff I didn't want to do. But just some advice for you guys: don't be scared and don't use what I said as like, oh my god, I should drop it, because everybody's different. Your experience might be completely different. Try it out first year, see how it goes, and then remember, you only have to do one more math course after that, and then you're done with math. So it's not like you're doing math all 4 years. That'd be my advice on the whole management option thing. And as for anything else, for someone going into communications, I would just say don't do it because you just don't know what else to do. Like I feel like a lot of people just pick the program because they're like, I don't know, I'm just gonna do this. Communications, what is it? I don't know, let me just do it. That was kind of me, but at the same time, I like knew what I could do with it, because I'm really into like media, obviously, YouTube, Instagram, socials, all that stuff. If you're interested in working for like a company like Google and working in the office and doing things with them, communications will be for you. But then there's other people like me who don't see myself doing like a 9-to-5 office job, but I still feel like communications pertains to me. Know what you want to do before you pick the program, so you're not just going to this program for absolutely no reason and spending money on a program that you're not even interested in the subject of, you know? I will say the good thing about communications is, because it's kind of broad, you can do almost anything with it. Like you could go to law school with communications, you can go into media with communications, you can go into business with communications, you can go into almost anything with it. So that's a big bonus. But just know what you want to do and don't just take it for the sake of taking it. That was my experience. Everybody's experience is different. I'm just trying to give you guys some tips that might help you in making your decision or going into your first year or whatever. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button if you're not yet subscribed, because you're already watching my videos. Like, why not subscribe? And hit the post notification bell so you get notified when I post new videos every single week, sometimes twice a week. And leave a comment down below for other videos you guys want to see me do, or any other questions you have for me. If you have any questions, feel free to comment them down below. I always respond to my comments. I always answer any questions, or hit me up in the DMs. My Instagram is at Sharmaine.he. Follow me there. And thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.